All right, fifth graders, let's put away our math. We're going to go ahead and start with some language arts. And to get started, I'm going to read you a poem. It is called, let's do this, First Snow. Snow makes whiteness where it falls. The bushes look like popcorn balls. And places where I always play look like somewhere else today. This is by Marie Louise Allen. So what's going on in this poem? Yes.
It's snowing.
Good, good. We know from the poem that it's snowing. Anything else?
The bushes have snow on them?
Even the bushes have snow? Good.
It hasn't snowed like this before.
Okay, and how'd you know that?
Because it says everywhere that she's played before looks like somewhere else.
Okay, good.
It's not normal.
Nice. Now, does anybody remember our unit from yesterday and what we were studying in language arts? No?
No.
Okay, I'll remind you. Yesterday we took a look at some similes. And now that I said the word similes, anybody want to remind the whole class of what a simile is? Kaylee.
A comparison using like or as?
Very nice. It's a comparison between two different things using like or as. And when we did our assignments yesterday, we had a whole bunch of example sentences. And those were good. They gave us some nice ways to start to recognize similes. But I want you to be able to recognize similes just when you're reading. So today we're going to take a look at how poets have used similes. And they aren't using them just so that we understand what a simile is. They're using it because that's the very best way for them to make their poem. So we're going to take a look at some poems. Before we start, I'm going to think through for you in this poem, First Snow, first how I'd find a simile, which you all probably know, and then also some questions I can ask myself if I'm reading a book and I want to make sure I understand what the author's saying. So the first thing I'm going to do, and I'm just going to think out loud, and then you'll have a chance to do some later. So I'm going to read the first two lines. Snow makes whiteness where it falls. The bushes look like popcorn balls. And that's it. I can tell where my simile is. Kaylee told us you look for like or as and a comparison. So my simile, I'm going to identify it. I already have it done for us. Like popcorn balls is our simile, so now that's in orange. And then our simile has to have a comparison word, and I know that it's the popcorn balls are like the bush, so that is our comparison. There we go. But maybe I'm not quite sure what the author meant, and so I have a few questions that I can ask myself. The first is, what are some adjectives that describe the noun in this simile? So my noun was popcorn balls. Let's take a look. We have a popcorn ball, so I can think about the noun, the popcorn ball, and some adjectives for it. And wow, that popcorn ball looks pretty white and lumpy. So I think those are some good adjectives for popcorn ball. And does that make sense for our poem? Let's see. If we compare it to bushes with snow, then you can see where the author's coming from and how that makes such a good image for our minds. And that also gets to our second question. If there are any context clues in the poem that help. And there are, just the way that Paige mentioned. She mentioned that she knew it was snowing and that it was the first snow, so we knew that those bushes are covered in snow, and that's why they look like popcorn balls. Nice? So let's go back. I do want to ask, back to my picture. What if the author had decided not to compare the bushes to popcorn balls and just said that bushes looked white and lumpy? How do you think that would have changed the poem?
It wouldn't have rhymed.
It wouldn't have rhymed. It would have messed up the rhyme scheme. Anything else?
It wouldn't really like flow either or make it sound as exciting or intriguing.
It would not have sounded as exciting. So the author used a simile and made us picture, have a great image in our mind, and made her poem more exciting because of her simile. All right, we're going to go on. Did anybody notice that there are two similes in our poem.
The last line, look like
Yes,
somewhere else.
Exactly. So we have snow makes whiteness where it falls, the bushes look like popcorn balls, and places where I always play look like somewhere else today. Another simile. So I'm going to go through the whole thing, talking to myself, and then you'll get some chance to practice. Like somewhere else today is our simile, and then it's comparing places where I always play. So again, I'm going to put up my questions. Adjectives that describe the noun. Now the noun in this case is somewhere, and not really, it doesn't give you a good image, does it? Not like popcorn balls. I can't put a PowerPoint image of somewhere up there. So that one's not going to help us. But the context clues will. We know that, we know that it's the first snow, and so places that she was familiar with now look different because of the snow. They look unfamiliar. So she's comparing the familiar with the unfamiliar. That is our second simile. Now I'm going to have you get a chance to practice. I have some really great poetry books. Some of them are silly and fun. There's some on sports if you like sports. Got a serious one. Just a whole assortment. I really think you're going to enjoy looking through these books. But notice at the top of the books, I have put tags. And I have tagged, I've already done some work for you, I tagged the poems that have similes. So you can work with your elbow partner, or you can work on your own if you like. But you will get a poetry book, and you will go to one of the tagged pages and find the poem with this simile. Some of the books have more than one poem on. It shouldn't take you long to find the simile. And then you will use just a piece of paper, and you can write your simile and comparison word and what the meaning of the simile is. And while you do that, I'll just walk around and make sure that there are no problems, and you can ask questions. Okay. Is there a book that you would like to use?
Can I have the silly one?
Yes.
Please.
Silly. Do you want to share with, do you want to work
Sure.
together? Okay. And you really just need one sheet of paper. Is that good?
Yeah.
Oh wow, there's one on this one. You could pick one of those. Or,
Whichever one you want.
yes.
Okay.
But it's like, maybe we could choose from.
One.
We could, there's like all of them.
Mm-hmm.
Do we want us to write down one?
You only need to use one. If there's
Okay.
more than one simile in the poem, I would just choose one for
Okay.
this, just to give you a little practice.
I like it when it's buffalo.
I'm sorry, Mike.
Mhm.
And so it's making the comparison of my sound, the way I'm sounding it would be similar to that of the book.
And then did you want us to do those two questions that you did?
You can write the simile, and I actually, thank you for asking that, Kaylee, because I do want to put the questions on here to remind you. There they are.
Okay.
You don't need to answer both questions, just tell what the simile means, and these can help you do that.